Yeah, hi all. Hope everyone is doing great. A small announcement before starting the class. So if you just go to the YouTube and go for the playlist, and like if you click on any video, in below description you will be able to see going forward a website link. Okay, so as it says, we have a quiz, mind map, and assignment also there. So let's see. So if you see, there are few tables and video explanation, a bit of key points which are important, as well as a Java quiz, which are a bit trickier, I can say, and a bit of assignment. Yeah, once you have done that, next class, then again here you will, for each class there will be a mind map or something which will make us easy to remember the concepts. So here operator mind map, logic operator. I'm still working on it, but yeah, I just wanted to show that going forward under each videos, you'll be able to see a link. Yeah. And the last post was this where I was comparing the data types of all the three. So yeah, I'm still working on it, but yeah, I wanted to show for you how it's going to happen. You will be finding it here. And if I click again, so now today's topic is what? So if you see, we have almost completed all our primitive data types. Okay, so going forward, like our last class, what we had learned is we had learned arrays that comes under non-primitive type. And after that, today's topic will be on strings. Yeah. So let's move back to the VS Code and let's explore the strings. Okay. So now, what is string? String, you can consider it as a word or a group of words. And let's try to create our first string. So here I'll say string. Then let's name it as name equal to, and here I'm going to store it as, let's say, mechanic. This is the one way to create the string. And the second way to create the string is string. I have to name it capital because it's a class. And here I'll say name2 equal to new instance of string. And here object, here I can give it as string. Sorry, here I have to give the value. Let me give the same value itself. Okay, and we'll try to compare. So mechaniccoder and a quotation marks. Yeah. So we just saw two ways to create this string. Okay. So in name also, what is that? There is a mechaniccoder present, as well as in name2, there is a word present as mechaniccoder. Clear? Now, what I'll do is I'll try to create one more variable, which again I'll store the mechaniccoder itself. Okay. Why I'm doing this, we'll just get to know in a second. So I'll create one more variable. Here I'll name it as name1. And even in this name1, mechaniccoder is present, right? So we presently have three variables. Now what I'll do is I'll try to compare them with the help of if statements. If name equal to name1. So if they are equal, what I'll display is name equal to name1. Okay, name equal to name1 variable. Right. So once I have done this, or else what I'll say, not equal. Yeah. So this is a bunch of if statement. After this, I'll create one more if statement saying if name equal to name2, okay, or name1 equal to name2, then display name equal to name1 equal to name2. Clear? So if this doesn't happen, then what I'll say, else south name2 is not equal to name and name1. So let's try to run it. Okay. So here, if we see what we have got the output, for the first time, it is printed as name equal to name1 variable. So that means this variable one, like name and name1 variable are same. So it's saying that mechaniccoder is being present in both of it. But Whereas when we are checking the second condition, here it is saying that name2 is not equal to name and name1 because the condition, if condition didn't get true. Okay, but if we see the values are same, right? Even here it's a mechaniccoder, even here it is mechaniccoder. If you want, you can also try to display for confirmation. Let's try to display south. I can say name plus, and if I run it, if you see at last bottom, everything is printing same. All the variables have same value named as mechaniccoder, but it's not matching. Now, why is that happening? What is the case? So it's happening due to the memory management. So to understand that, let's imagine a memory. Here it is actually a heap. Okay, you need not go into that technical terms, but yeah, for time being, let's like name it as stack. Yeah. And when you create a variable here, let me reduce the pen size as this, and yeah, name1. Okay. So in stack, you have created a variable, and this variable will be pointing to a data, like to a value as mechaniccoder. Let me write here, mech in short. Yeah. Then after that, when you create a name2 as a variable, name2, this name2 variable will be pointing to the same value. Yeah. So we are not duplicating the values. We are just pointing it to a single value. But when you create a variable which is of new instance, in this way, what is happening is you are creating a variable and also assigning a different, like creating a new value with that. For example, here you are creating name3, and also you are creating a new instance of mech. Yeah, and this will be pointing towards this. Clear? So when you use double equal to, what will happen is that it will compare the variable 1 and variable 2's memory location. Okay, now variable 1 and variable 2 memory location was same. So that's why it said like whatever this condition got true and it displayed this. But when you compare the variable 1 and with the third variable, that is when you compare this condition, the memory location was different in the heap memory. Okay, that is here. So due to this condition, what happened? It got failed. Clear? Okay, but there might be few conditions where we want to compare the values and not actually their memory location. For example, here in this first variable, we are not concerned about where it is stored. We are just concerned like if this is equal to the name2 variables value. Okay, so if it is in this way, like if you want to just compare the values, then there's a function for a string named as equals. What is equals? The variable 1 equals variable 2. Okay, so let's try to implement this and check if it's working fine. So let me clear the screen and let me just replace all this double equal to with a function. So I'll do it with like this. Okay, and replace it here. And wherever I have replaced, I have to give a end parenthesis. So if you see, now what I have done is wherever there is a double equal to, I have just changed it and made it equals, right? So once we have done this, let's try to run it. Okay, and if you are able to see the output now, what it is displayed, for the first at least it is displaying the same, that is name equal to name1 variable, whereas even for the second if condition like this part, even here what it is displaying, that is name equal to name1 equal to name. Why? Because now it is not comparing the memory location, it is comparing its values. Clear? Okay, great. So once we have understood this, now let's try to take some inputs from the user. For example, now what I'll do is I'll clear this screen. Okay, and let's say, so now as we want to take the input from the user, we first need a scanner class. So let's say scanner input equal to new scanner system. Yeah. Okay. So once we have done this, now I'll create my string data variable string. let's say user equal to now input dot next. Yeah. And so once we have done this, what it does is that it takes the input from the user, and let's try to display what the user has entered. So I'll say south user entered plus user. Clear? So let's try to check it. So it is asking for us an input. So let's say Shri. Okay, so if you see user entered Shri. Okay, it's working fine. Now let me run once again. So here, now what I'll enter is I'll enter mechaniccoder. And if I see enter. So here, if you see, now it is just saying that user entered mechanic. But what I had entered mechaniccoder also. Why this happened? This happened due to this function named as next. What does next do? It always takes just the first word given in a sentence or anything. Okay, it is going to take just first word. So if you want to take your entire sentence, a paragraph or line, anything, then we have to simply update this function as line. Yeah. So once we have done this, and if I run it now, and now I can just enter my mechaniccoder, and it will display the entire word. Okay, the entire line or entire paragraph. Yeah. So I hope you have understood this part also. Good, great. So once we have understood this, let's understand the next property of string. So string can be considered as an iterable type of data. What do I mean by iterable? So similar to array where you could move from one element to other with the help of index. Same thing, you can do it with mechaniccoder also. But to understand that, first we have to know a property named as charAt. And whatever the index number you are going to provide here, that index particular letter character will be displayed. For example, let's say I do name dot charAt, let's say 0. So this is going to display M. Let's check it if it is correct. So first of all, I want to display. So I'll say south. Then I'll say name dot charAt 0. Correct. And if I run it, you see, it is displaying what? M. Clear? Okay, cool. Now, if it was an array, what we could have done, we could have simply say array square bracket, and we were going on passing the index values here, the X, and we are getting all the elements one by one. Okay. Similarly, what we'll do is we'll use the loop itself, but here what we are going to do, we are going to say name, as that is our variable name. And here we are using this function named as charAt. And in this, we are going to pass our X. In this way, we will get all the letter by letter, the character by character values. Right? So let's check it. So for that, first I have to write my for loop. For int X equal to 0, X less than name dot length, name dot length. And here, if you observe, here length is a function, so that's the reason why it is giving as parenthesis, whereas in array's case it was a property. Okay, and here I can say X plus plus. Good. And here what I'll take, the first sentence what I had written here, I'll copy that same part and I'll paste it here. And I'll just change this 0 to what? X. First we'll get the index. Okay. So in this format, what I have to get is I have to get each letter by letter, all the characters. So let's see if it works. And if you see the output, it's working fine. Yeah. So here, let me run once again. Okay, if you see mechaniccoder, we are getting each letter by letter. Clear? Good. So for this, which function is important? Char. Good. Okay. Yeah. So the next topic will be substring. So that is nothing but like extracting a particular word from a given sentence. For example, now here we have a mechaniccoder, and if you want to just extract this mechanic, or let's say just a coder, then there's a function through which we can do it. That's named as substring. So for that, first you have to write the variable name and then substring function, which is here. Okay. And here, if you see, they are mentioning like you have to keep the beginning index as well as the end index. So let's say the beginning index is same and the ending index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, and we have to always give one extra. So that will be 8. Okay. So the 8 is the position of a blank space, but we have to give it. So if you want still mechanic, we have to give one extra. Okay. So let's run it. And we should be, we haven't displayed it. So let's put this entire statement in south. And let's delete this part, this, okay. And okay, this, and yep. Once you have done this, let's run now. Cool. So if you see, I have received mechanic here. Okay. The same thing I can do it here. So here I can give 9. So to start from C coder. So if this is 9, then 10, 11, 12, 13. So here I have to give it as, let's say, 13. One extra. And if I run it, cool. So, so it's just code. So let's see. Mechanic coder. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 14, one extra, right? So it should be 14. Will be 14. And if I run it, cool. So we have received code. Correct? Okay, cool. That makes sense. So it's one of the again important function. Once we have discussed, so what all we have discussed as charAt, substring, equals. Yeah. So let's jump to the problem now. So our problem statement is to find out if a given word is a palindrome or not. Now, what is palindrome? Palindrome is a word which you go from the starting or the ending. It is going to give the same output. For example, let's say dad. If you read it from here, it is still DAD. And even if you go from here, it is DAD. Similarly, mom. Okay. Or similarly, you can say race car. Race car. R-A-C-C. Clear? So this is known as palindrome problem. And it's not just a two string. You can also have 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Here you have put it in a quotation mark. Therefore, even if it is a number, but this is considered as what? String data. Okay. And even if you see here, this one is equal to this one, then we have 2, 2, and finally a 3, which is common. Correct? So how can we solve this? So if you see, what we have to do is we have to keep on comparing. So if we take this first element, we also have to take the last element of this. We have to compare these two. Then we have to take this and this. Then we have to compare this two. And finally, we will be left with 1. Okay? So what we can do is we can run our loop up to n by 2, whatever is our length, divided by 2. So it will go up to here. As it will be an integer format, so automatically it will round off to the next number, and therefore it will go up to here. Okay, and as it is going, we have to keep on comparing with the reverse position also. Okay, so let's try to do it. Cool. So let's create a function, say it as public static void, and what is our name? Palindrome. Cool. Do we need any arguments? Yes, we require a string argument. Let's say it is a data and parenthesis, enter. So once we enter inside this, what we want is we require a loop for, let's say, in x equal to 0. Okay. Then x less than whatever is our data dot length. Okay. And we have to go up to where? Whatever is the length divided by 2. Right? Roland. Then what I have to do is I have to keep on updating my x. At last, after updating, what I'll do is I have to compare now. So I'll give a if condition, if starting letter. How can I say the starting letter? I can say that data, whatever is data dot charAt. char at x. So x initially it will be 0, it will be, therefore we'll get a starting letter here. And if this is equal to data dot charAt, how can I say the ending letter? So that can be said that data dot length. So this will give us the length. And if you want the index of the last letter, so what we have to do is -1 we have to do. And if you want to keep on updating it, we have to say minus x. So initially it will be 0. Therefore, we'll get last index. And therefore, when it keeps on updating, it will go on reducing, shrinking. Right. And once we have done this, what we can do. So what should we actually check? It should be equal, but we can keep the condition in such a way that if it is not equal, then what we'll say, we'll return from here. Okay, return. And before returning what, let's display a message for the user saying that south, not a palindrome, not a palindrome. Clear? But in case if this condition never got executed, like if it is always equal to, then what will happen is that this entire for loop will get executed. And therefore, once it is executed, here we will display one message for the user saying palindrome. Palindrome. Okay, and once we say that, we'll simply return from here. Return. We can make it a Boolean type of data, this function also, like return type as Boolean, and here you can return true, return false. But for typing, what I have done is I have just made it void. And let's check it. So here I'll say what is my function name, palindrome, and here data. Okay, that makes sense. And let's run it. Cool. So it is saying it is palindrome. So let's make it name, NAME name, and let's run it. See, it is displaying as it is not a palindrome. So mechaniccoder is not a palindrome, whereas race car is a palindrome. Clear? But the first problem. So let's jump to the next problem. Yep. So here we have an interesting problem. So here, if you see, we have given with the data and we have a bunch of letters. So what this actually is, this is nothing but W stands for west, and for north, east, E for east, and S for south. So this is nothing but the direction they have given. So let's imagine we are at the coordinate like this at 0, 0. Okay, and it has moved first west. So let me first write the direction north. This will be south, east, and west. Okay, so once we have written this, it is saying first go to the west side. So it will go for the west, and let's assume every time it is just moving 1 unit. So once it moves to west and then it goes to north, okay, 1 unit, then east, okay, then again there is 1 east, okay. I'm reading it from here, okay. Then the next letter is north, so it goes up. Okay, then it goes to east, then it goes to south, then again it is a east, then southeast, then it is north, and then north and north. So north. Clear? So the problem statement is to find out the minimum distance, that is the shortest distance between the ending point and the starting point. So what will be the shortest distance? The shortest distance will be the straight line between them. Okay, clear? So how would we find out? First of all, we know that our starting position is this. So our first target is to find out the location of this. How would we find out? Whatever is our x. So this is what, let's say this is x, comma y, right? So whenever it goes to this side, our x is becoming what? Negative, right? And wherever it is going at this side, our x is becoming positive. Similarly, if it is going at the top side, our y is becoming, this is for x, our y is become positive. So, and if it goes at the downward direction, our y will become negative. Right? Let me quickly do it. So I'll just calculate for x. So x is 1. And it is still x is 1. Then it is become, sorry, it is minus, right? So x will become -1. let's do it in code. So basically this logic we have to put in code. So first let's try to put that in a code format. So for that, let's create a function. So our function name would be what? Public static method void. No, we'll return the value. So let's make it n. And what is our this? Let's say it is displacement. Displacement. Okay, do we need any arguments? Yes, we need the argument as string, and let's say it is a data. And yeah, that's it. So once we enter inside the function, then what we have to do? We have to declare few variables, that is int x equal to 0. And what I'll declare is the next one, y equal to 0. Clear? So I have declared two variables. Then I'll write a for loop. I'll start with my int where I equal to 0. Okay. And I should be less than whatever is my data dot length. Okay. And I should be keep on updating I plus plus. And as it goes inside this loop, what I have to do is I have to keep the if condition saying that if my data dot charAt of I, so this is nothing but I will be index, right? And if this is equal to, let's say, quotation mark W, then what I have to do? Let's make it order wise. So let's go with not. Okay, if it is not, what I have to do? Not is up. So I have to do y plus plus. Am I right? Y plus plus. Okay, that makes sense. Then similarly, I'll duplicate this steps for 4 times. Okay. Here I'm going to say else if it is opposite of not, that is south, then y will become what? Minus minus. Okay, cool. Similarly, y char, and if it is at east, then what it should become? X should be plus plus. Am I right? Yes. And here, instead of writing the condition, I can simply put a else statement. Else, what I'll say? Whatever is my x minus minus. Clear? So this is nothing but what we discussed the logic here, right? That logic it is. So from this, what we are getting, we'll be updating our x values and we'll get the 4 and 3. Clear? So once we get the 4 and 3, then how to calculate this straight line that is present here? Yeah. Any idea how to calculate this line? So it's a basic maths thing which you have learned in your school. Like if you have any right angle triangle, okay, this is what? This is hypotenuse, and this is like the height, you can say height, and this is width. Okay, how do we calculate the hypotenuse? Hypotenuse is nothing but height square plus width square, right? Square root of height square plus width square, right? It's the hypotenuse, this Pythagoras theorem. Okay, Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so let's try to put that logic here. So once I calculate my this, so here I'll simply say hypo, I'll create a variable as int hypotenuse equal to maths dot square root. And what I have to square root? I have to first do the square of my height, and my height is what? Like x, I can say x into x. Okay. Once I get x square plus y square, I have to do y square. Okay, so that is nothing but y into y. Clear? So once I do this, whatever is the data that will be stored in hypo, right? But there is an issue here, that is it is showing some error. Now, why is this? Any idea? The hint is also present. If you see, the hint is somewhere here. Okay, that is because it is going to return which type of data? Double. Okay. So here there is a bit concept of type conversion. If you have not watched the video of type conversion, that is the first class itself, then it's a problem. So you can just watch that video. Okay, so here we have to do typecasting. So that is nothing but we have to force it to become integer. And now it won't be any issue. So whatever the double value is there, that is converted into int, and then it is stored into hypotenuse. Right? Cool. So once we have received our hypotenuse, we are simply going to return from here print hypo. Okay. Done. So let's see if so what we get 3, 4. So our answer should be 5 because that's a Pythagoras triplet. So let's do south. And what is the function name? That is the displacement data. Okay, let's see if we get the answer as 5. Cool. So we have got the answer as 5, and that completes our this problem. Clear? So it was pretty simple. Yeah, I hope you have got it. So let's move to the next question. So our next problem is again pretty simple enough. So here, if you see, we have given with the array, and it is containing the string type of data inside it. So the values are apple, cat, and zebra. So from this, we have to calculate the largest one. So what is the largest one? The one which is like if we sort it in ascending order, the one which is present at last. So if you see, it is apple, cat, and zebra, right? Z value. So Z will come at last. So this is considered as largest. Correct? So let's try to do that. Yep. So how to do it? So for that, there we can use the help of a compare function, which is named as compareTo. Okay. So here we have to pass one variable, let's say variable 1, and here it will be variable 2. Correct? If the both the variables are same, that is, let's say if the variable 1 is equal to A and variable 2 is equal to B. Okay, A, B, C, and even if this is A, B, C, if both are same, then this is going to return us what? This is going to return us 0. Okay. In case if variable 1 is less, okay, it will return us negative. Okay. And in case if the variable 1, that is zebra, and variable 2 is ABCD something value like that, then it will return us positive. Right? So with the help of this function, what we can do is we can find out which is the greatest among this. Okay. So for that, let's create a function again saying public static method void, and what's our function name? We can say the largest string, I can say something like that. And yes, after that, what I want is argument, sorry, a parameter, I can say string square bracket. So that's an array. Now, once I have received it, what I can do is I have to basically, okay, first I have to name the variable, right? Here I'll say it as data. Okay, so now I have to start my loop for int, let's say x equal to 0. Okay, x x less than data dot length. Okay, if you see now here there is no parenthesis. Why? Because data is which type of data? It's an array, right? Right. So then I'm going to update x plus plus. Okay, cool. That once I have done this, now what will be the x position? X will be 0. That will be apple. Then it will be 1. That will be cat. Then it will be 2. That is zebra. Right. Now, before comparing, what we have to do is we have to create a dummy variable as, let's say, largest. Not a dummy variable, variable which will store the largest value. So string largest. And here I am going to store, let's say, whatever is my data square bracket 0. So by default, I am considering whatever is the first element, that is itself the largest one, right? So once I have compared that, written like that, then here I'll put a simple if condition. If I'll put a condition if largest dot then compare to, and the second one is what? X. So here I have to change it, and I have to compare it with what? Whatever is my data square bracket X. Okay, and this I'll start with the 1. Okay, here I have just changed from 0 to 1 because 0 we have technically assigned here itself, right? So here the condition is something like if largest dot compared to data of X. So it will then compare to cat. So whichever is largest, that one we have to store it in. First of all, what I have to do is greater than 0. So if this is greater than 0, then that means largest is greater. Then that what you do, you store it in largest. So here I'll say largest equal to data of X. Correct? Sure. Okay. So once we have done this loop will keep on repeating. And finally, once this loop is completed, we'll get the largest value, and I'll just display that largest value. So largest. Okay. Let's check it. Let's clear the screen and let's run this program. Now, before running, let's call the function. So the function name is largest string data. Okay. And let's check it. Okay, it is saying apple because here I have done the condition reverse. It should be this zebra. Correct? Yeah. Okay. So our next topic is string builder. So let me just write the heading. Okay, what is string builder? Why we are actually using it? So to understand that, like let's recall first what we had discussed at the beginning of the class, that we had actually like two types of memory which we can think, stack and heap. Okay, in heap we can consider like this is where the memory location is there, or you can consider like value is present. For example, let's say in stack we usually store the function calls, or let's say a variable name. For now, let's say the variable name is word, and this is pointing to a data. Let's say the data is high. Okay. Now let's imagine like if this word string builder was not there, then what will have happened if we try to update this high? Let's say now the high is becoming high, double I is there. Now the Java would create a new value. Instead of updating this high itself, it would have created again one new value and a new memory location saying I is here, creating a location for this, and then pointing this to I. The previous point will be removed. And let's say again we have updated this to one more word, like let's say we are adding one more F. Then again it is creating one more memory location saying hi, and this is being pointed here, right? And in case if we are keep on updating this, like let's say for a sentence, the related problem we are going to do is, let's say hi, just a second, let me write a sentence. Hi, how are you? Now, if this is a sentence, now let's say we have to capitalize each letter, starting letter of this word of a sentence. Then each time when the loop runs, it is always creating a new memory location. Okay. And this would create a space issues and all. So to avoid this, what we use is string builder. What the string builder does is that it keeps on updating our original position itself. It will keep on updating our high itself. So if you add next I to it, it will update this high itself and it will store it as high. Then if you update anything, it will keep on updating this itself. So it won't create a new space. Right? So for that purpose, the string builder is used. So string builder is nothing new. Like you create any variable at beginning, you write it string, right? Similarly, instead of string, we have to write now string builder. Okay. So let's try to do it. So the problem statement, I'll take it same. So let's create a variable. Let's say first it will be string. And the data will be, let's say data, or let me write it sentence equal to hi. Let me make it small case. Hi, how are you? Okay. So this is the sentence. Now what we have to do is we have to make the starting letter capital. Okay. So let's create a new function for that, public static method. Okay. Presently we are not going to return anything. Let's say our function name would be sentence up case, something like that. And we are going to take an argument as string, string string, and let's say the variable is sentence. Yeah, fine. So once we have done still here, now, as I said, I am creating a new variable, which will be of string builder. You see it's present here. Okay. And here I'll create a argument like variable name as, let's say, word or new sentence. New sentence equal to, I'm creating a new instance of this and I'm saying string builder sentence. Not sentence, I'll keep it blank. Okay. So what I've done is I have created a new variable of named as new sentence. which is having a data type as string builder, right? Now, how would I solve this problem is that I will go through each letter by letter in this sentence. Okay. And whenever I find a blank space, okay, I'll try to update my string builder in such a way that after blank space, there is a capital letter. Okay. First of all, for that, what I want a for loop. So let's write a for, and let's give the variable as int x equal to, you should start with 0. Let's say it's starting with 0, and x less than whatever is my sentence dot length, and then I'll do x plus plus. Okay, good. After that, here I have to write the condition if what, I have to identify this blank space. Now, how can I identify what is this x? X is index. So I'll say my sentence dot charAt, which we have just studied, x. So this will give us each letter, and if this each letter, any one of them is equal to like this blank space, then what I'll do is I'll enter inside this loop. Then after entering inside this loop, I am going to do new sentence plus equal to, as this is a string builder, so we need not do plus equal to, we have to use a function named as append for this. And here I'll just say what I should append. Let's say first I have to append a blank space. So for time being, the blank space has been updated. After updating the blank space, what I'll do is I'll update my x so that the x index goes to this h. So for that, I'll do x plus plus. Okay, my x is updated. Then again, what I have to add is I have to add now this h. So for this h, what I'll do, I'll again, first of all, I'll get this h. So to get the h, what I have to do, whatever is my sentence, from that get the character at x. Okay. Then after getting this x, what I have to make is first I have to make it capital, right? This h I have to first make it capital. So for that, there is a function like character property, character dot to uppercase. Where it is? Yeah, here it is at last, to uppercase. So now whatever the character is given here, which is nothing but at, let's say this will be the first time it is going to add. So this h will be received here, and that is converted into uppercase. Then what I'll do, this entire thing, what I'll get a capital H, then I'll put it in my new sentence. So for that, what I have to do, new sentence dot append. Okay, clear? And at last, I'll say close the bracket. Good. So let's see what all we have done. So we have started with 0. Okay, we have started where h is 0. But if h is 0, we are not able to update this as a capital letter, right? So what I'll do for that is I'll update it at the beginning itself, new sentence dot append. What I have to append? I have to append the starting letter, that is h, right? This I have to append. So how will I get that? I'll just copy this. Sentence dot char at x. That is nothing but I have to do it, change it to and 0. So I'll get this h, but I don't want to store this h as it is. I want to convert it into uppercase, right? So for that, I'll put it to a parenthesis, and here I'll write a character dot to uppercase. Okay, to uppercase, then sentence dot char at 0. Yeah. So once I have done this, it will be updated. So now I need not start my loop with 0 because it's already 0 is used here. So I can start my loop with 1. Okay. And if what is the condition? If it ever the character is ever a blank space, then what it will do? It will first add the blank space. Okay. Then what it will do is it will update its x. So the index position goes to this h. Then what it is doing? It is going to append what? It is first converting to uppercase. What it is converting? Whatever is the present x. That will be nothing but h. Then it will be a. Then it will be y. Clear? So now we are able to update all the capital letters, but we also have to make sure we are updating the remaining words. For that, what I'll do is new sentence dot append. What I have to append is sentence dot char at x. Clear? So from this way, what is happening? Whatever is the sentence is being updated. So finally, if I do here south at the last, I should be able to see south. What I'll do is a new sentence. I should be able to see a sentence which is having a capital letter at the beginning, right? So let's first test it. Control C, Control V, and here I'm going to say sentence. Here, and let's run it. So if you see, everything is being capital. Hi, how are you? If you see, the starting letter is capital. Okay, you could have also solved it with the help of just making it, keeping it as a string. But if you follow that approach, what will happen is the space utilization will be more, and that will not be a good code. Okay, in case if you want this as a string itself, then what you can do is you can convert this to string also. For example, let me create a variable as string, and let's say this as output equal to what I can say, whatever is my new sentence dot to string. Yeah. So if I do like this, now the new sentence, whatever is there, which is in the string builder, okay, that is being converted to string, and that we are storing in output. And here we can just return output, and after returning the output, here I have to change the return type of this function to, let's say, string. Okay, now there won't be issue. I'll just make display it. So here I'll say south. Yeah. So once I have done this, okay. So if I run it, okay. So if you are able to see, there are two sentences which are same. So the first one is being displayed here in the function new sentence. This is of string builder. Whereas once I convert it into string and I'm exporting this string with the help of return function, and here it is getting printed. And if you see, even the data here is same. Correct. So in this case, what happened is just that we were able to optimize our code with the help of string builder data type. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for today's class. We'll catch up in next.